Okay, what is up, guys? Monday, September the 26th, 2022. Hope you're doing well. Chris Phillips here, the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. Appreciate you all tuning in. Obviously, we're in a different location this week for the first half of the week. Y'all let me know if we have any audio issues, video issues, and if we do, I will do my best to take care of those. Again, appreciate you all tuning in. I see Gene Lott, Lady Bree, Hunter Johnson, Connor Lee. I've already seen Luke RJ comment on things, Cody Gaskins, a couple others as well. Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord over the TDC Questions channel, the TDC Questions channel. Be sure your questions are answered. I see Craig Phillips. Craig, what's up, man? Appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, we're in a different location, different spot today. Really exciting stuff. TDC remotes on the road, but it's the same Daily Crow. Taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Todd Smith, I appreciate you always being my producer behind the scenes, my guy. You, Brendan M., a couple others I could name. You guys make sure that I'm in line. So I appreciate that. Todd also with the super chat. Let me highlight this. Todd with the super chat. Todd, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate you. You guys want to support the business, support the channel, support the content, support everything we do, and you're on YouTube. You can do so through super chat, super stickers. That via YouTube, like I said. Guys, of course, before we really get going, I want to tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks. The Daily Crow is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Go down to the Prize Picks app, go to prizepicks.com. And when you do, use the promo code TSUS. You're going to receive a 100% deposit match up to $100, guys, right? You're not just betting spreads, totals, futures, whatever. These are prop plays. So total yards passing, rushing, touchdowns, interceptions, all that good stuff. They got futures on there as well. If you do want to play futures on Prize Picks, you can do that. So again, that's our friends at Prize Picks. Go down the Prize Picks app, go to prizepicks.com. When you do, use that promo code TSUS to again receive that 100% deposit match up to $100. Guys, be sure to check them out. Let me just tell you all this, because you may not know. You may think to yourself, me signing up, not a big deal, not really helping the business. I can assure you that it does. I can assure you that it does. It does wonders. The Prize Picks folks, guys, have reached out to me, and they have voiced just how positive the reception has been. How many of you, it's been like hundreds of you that have signed up with Prize Picks since we started partnering up with them last football season. And, of course, now Prize Picks is an actual partner for us. They're not just like a promo code usage type partner. They're an actual business partner with us for the football season, and that wouldn't have happened without the love and support that you guys show. Signing up, playing with Prize Picks. So, again, thank you all so much. Again, that's prizepicks.com and the app as well. Promo code TSUS to receive that 100% deposit match up to $100. Guys, I want to hear from you. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Your thoughts on the game that was over the weekend. Gamecocks taking down Charlotte 56-20. But, of course, even in a blowout win, when you take on a team like that, there were a lot of things to nitpick, if you will. There's a lot of things to discuss and dissect. And, it's crazy for me, guys, on the Daily Crow. I feel like I should be able to sit back and lounge and relax. And certainly I'm going to do that here. But I feel like normally I'm so up and upright and attentive and all that. So I'm going to try to, we're up here in the mountains. We're about a mile above sea level. I was able to wake up this morning, catch the sunrise. So I'm feeling actually and we're coming off a victory, right? So I'm feeling very mellowed out right now, feeling very calm, feeling very at peace. So we're going to try to keep that up. And I've actually, it's funny. I've got a piece of content for later today, though. I've got a piece of content for later today that I've already recorded. That, we talked in the preseason, right? There's multiple ways to look at this thing, right? And because this is just me voicing how I see it. So I'm not telling you how to think, but coming off a game against Charlotte, right? There are multiple ways you can look at this. Obviously, nobody wants to come in today and be the negative Nancy, doom and gloom. Like, if you overanalyze the thing, it's like, man, don't forget to have fun in the winning, right? Don't forget to have fun in the winning. On the flip side, right, it's nauseating when people are garnet glasses, over the top, positive. They just ignore all the problems, right? That becomes too much. The garnet glasses, if you will, sunshine pumpers as we know them. I try to stay in the middle, right? I try to stay that realistic middle ground, which is why I feel like you guys really rock with this show. I try to see things for what they are, not for what I want them to be. So you can look at a game like we saw on Saturday, and we can applaud and give credit to the positives and the great things that happened, the individual efforts. You got to start with Marshawn Lloyd, right? Incredible what Marshawn Lloyd did. It's a great story. Him coming back from the injury and kind of finally breaking out, if you will, and being the guy we all knew he could be. And now you feel like, hey, if he just even gets a little bit of blocking, right? If he even gets a little bit of blocking, he's a dude. He's a dude for us. Offensive line played fantastic, did what they should do against lesser competition, went out there and bullied their opponent. Defensively, after a very slow start, right? That first half was abysmal. There's just no way to put it, right? At one point, you're down 14-10 to Charlotte, and we're thinking to ourselves, my God, what is going on? Second half, you respond the right way. The entire football team did, but especially defensively. You respond the right way, right? You force turnovers, you attack. Maybe that's something, the turnovers come in bunches, and you're able to carry that into SC State. But more importantly, when you get back into SEC play, right? You start seeing those turnovers happening, and you start having more and more confidence. You go into Kentucky, and it's almost like the turnovers will find you, right? When you, I don't want to get too philosophical, but when you start thinking about it and you start manifesting it and you start seeing it happening, right? And now you've actually had it happen, and now you have that confidence that it will happen again, right? But there's also a flip side to it. Again, we're in the middle here. When you tune into me, you're not getting the Garnet Glasses Sunshine Pumper view. But I'm also not going to be the negative doom and gloom, Debbie Downer. Let's, again, just nitpick and overanalyze. But my biggest gripe, and I talked about this on the podcast coming out of that game on Saturday, was just the passing game, guys. The passing game. And I know this is something we'll get into more as we go throughout the show today and throughout the week and all that. But I would have liked to have seen more from the vertical passing game. I would have liked to have seen more from Spencer Rattler. Because at this point to me, guys, and listen, obviously I'm still all Beamer Rattler 22, but he's been underwhelming. He's been underwhelming. There's just no other way to put it. And I don't know if that's a SAT issue. I don't know if that's an offensive line issue. I don't know if that's a receiver issue. I don't know if that's a Rattler issue himself, but somebody, or maybe it's a combination of all.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
What's going on, man? How are you?
What's going on, Chris?
Just hanging out, man. What's up?
Not a whole lot. Yeah, good game Saturday all around. I just, I got to get something off my chest, man. I joined a Facebook group, Gamecock fans, obviously. And I tell you, man, some of the things you see on there, what do people expect out of this team? It really makes me ask myself that. I just, you go out and you score 50, you score 56 points. Well, what do people expect?
And that's why
I don't know if it's Gamecock fans.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was saying at the top, man. Like I try to stay in the middle, but I definitely do not believe in, if you want to criticize, fine. I do that. If you want to be critical, fine. But also give the same energy, to the positives from the game. Especially the positive individual efforts. If you want to write off, because, hey, do I think we're going to carry that 300-yard per game rushing performance in the SEC play? No, that's my biggest concern.
Right.
But I'm not going to take anything away from Marshawn Lloyd. I'm happy as hell for Marshawn Lloyd, just for him to have that success after the injury. that's a feel-good story, man. So, yeah, listen, I think there's, and like I said, I'm not going to tell anybody how to think, but I think there's some people, they see the negative side of it first, and they just won't be satisfied
it's
until we're,
man.
they won't be satisfied until we're back to winning 10, 11 games. But, the joy is in the winning. And I guess I look at it this way, man. It's like, this team's probably headed to somewhere between 6-6 and 8-4, right? We can all agree that's right. Probably where we're going to land. Probably 6-6 or 7-5, whatever. So, which means we're going to lose about half of our games and win about half of our games, give or take. And it's a guarantee. I guarantee you, after we lose, we're going to be miserable, right? We're going to be upset. We're going to be irked. We're going to be unsettled. So why not in the wins? I'm not saying don't be critical and don't, analyze the football team and give an honest assessment. But enjoy the wins while you get them, because we're not getting 12, 13,
Enjoy
14, 15 of them. You know what I mean? Like, just be sure to the fun is in the winning. I don't give a damn who it's against. And I'm kind of preaching to myself too, because listen, after week 1 against Georgia State, I left that game very unsettled and very irked. But I'm trying to, after this Charlotte game, really just appreciate the fact, you know what, we went out there and we kicked somebody's ass. And South Carolina State should go the exact same way. And, you know, when Kentucky week comes, we'll worry about Kentucky. And after that game plays out, good or bad, we'll react to it, you know, accordingly. But, yeah, I mean, you can I'm all about being critical and you know, seeing things for what they are. But the fun is in the winning. You can't lose sight of that.
Right. But other than that, my biggest takeaway is, I mean, obviously you got SC State coming up. Like you said, it should go, you know, similar to how this week went.
Mm-hmm.
You get into SEC play, though, man, you have to get a quicker start because you're not going to be able to do that again. Touchdown. You're not coming back from that. So definitely got to get going quicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, been outscored 28-6 in the first quarter thus far, and you know, it even extends back to last year. So I don't know, and I think it's a mental issue. I really think it's a mental issue. Because again, like you look at Charlotte, for example. I mean, we outscored them 36-6 in the second half. So obviously we were capable of doing that. Obviously we were better than Charlotte. Why did we start slow? It wasn't a talent issue. It's not a physical issue. It's a mental issue. That's just the, and I don't know if that, you know, if you want to blame that on coaching or you want to blame that on players, or you want to blame that on whatever you want to blame that on. But I think it's a mental issue. I think it's an approach issue. I think that's the way you look at it. I just, because it doesn't make sense to say, we're just like, what are you going to say? We're not warmed up yet, or we're not. I mean, it doesn't make sense otherwise, in my opinion. So, yeah, they got to get that fixed. They got to get that figured out. And especially, man, when you're playing like an SC State this weekend, you know, there's just no excuse not to come out fast and establish from the jump. We're the better team. Like, just, you know, so.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was good to see the running game get going. I mean, it's Charlotte, of course, but good to see the running game get going. I hope it keeps up. I hope Marshawn Lloyd is set. I hope Marshawn Lloyd is set to have a hell of a year. He's a beast. It was awesome seeing him live, man.
That's really what you hope for, right? It's the confidence that comes with that. I feel like that Marshawn's been that dude since the jump. He just finally got some blocking to kind of go along with it. I appreciate the call, my man. We're going to jump into another call. Let's go to
Will from Dirty Myrtle.
Will, Dirty Myrtle. Here we go.
To accept.
Will, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, bro. How are you?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
Well, just calling to give my report of what I saw. Happy we got that win. Nice to score 50-plus points against a Division I school. Doesn't happen a lot for us, so that's nice.
Do you know, by the way, Will, on that point, not to cut you off, but do you know that I read a stat somewhere? That was the first time we scored 50-plus points since 2019. I hope I don't butcher the stat. But that was only the second time we've scored 50-plus points in a game since 2013.
Yeah, it's versus a FBS school.
Okay. FBS, okay. That's what it was then, yes. Okay.
Yeah. Because we scored like 60-something against Charleston Southern or whatever a couple years ago. But
that's what it was, FBS school. FBS school, but 50-plus, first time, only second time since 2013. That's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Kind of goes to show how porous the offense has been of late.
So it's hard to be mad at that. You know what I mean? You can't really be mad at that. And I'm happy about the way we ran the ball, but this is my problem. This is my takeaway. And I don't mean to be the guy that calls in as negative because I'm glad we won. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. But we played against probably what most people would be considered maybe the worst defense in all of Division I.
Statistically, they are the worst defense, yes.
Right. And it still looked like we couldn't really pass the ball like we wanted to. And I know that we ran the ball so well we didn't need to. But we didn't take any really big shots downfield. And it still looked like he was kind of struggling to get anything up the field. Everything was kind of a check down. And it just, I don't know. It's kind of like, man, when's it gonna be the day that we're going to sling that thing around like we thought we were going to when we brought Spencer Rattler there? Because like you said, we didn't bring him here to hand the ball off. But that game plan damn sure looked like we were completely content with just running the ball 40 times and passing 10 or 15.
Yeah.
And I just don't. I guess like getting the running game is going to a good start is good, but against them, it doesn't show me a lot. Because I think Marshawn Lloyd could play like that against anybody if the holes were there, but the holes aren't going to be there like that against Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? So
you sound like you listened to the podcast this morning, my guy.
I didn't, my guy. But
well, great minds think alike. No, I mean, I made the point on the pod, and I'll say it here too, because again, it's taking nothing away. But I agree with you. My greatest concern is this. It's like, of course, we were able to bully Charlotte up front, right? They're Charlotte. They're the worst defense in college football. What happens, right? What happens when you have to pick on somebody your own size? That's kind of the way I look at it. Anybody can pick on the smaller guy. I mean, and I'm not saying you were wrong for doing it on Saturday night, but that's why it concerns me, and I hope it's the point of emphasis this weekend against SC State, but that's why it concerns me to not see more from the passing game. Because I don't think anybody in their right mind thinks that, well, our identity should just be run the ball 50 times. And, because we'll run it for 295. And, we just need Spencer Rattler to be a game manager. No, you're going to need above average quarterback play, especially when you're on the road at Lexington, at Florida, at Clemson, God forbid. You're going to need above average quarterback play. You're not going to be able to just ground and pound, same 3 plays up the middle, and that's all she wrote. So, again, anybody can pick on the smaller guy, but it's not about the point I made on the podcast, the point I'll make here. This season was never about beating Charlotte. This season was never about beating SC State. This season's about beating the Kentuckys, the Tennessees, the Floridas, the A&Ms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I guess what I most want to see from these games is, are you building your football team and learning things that are going to help you win those games? Just picking on the smaller guy, I mean, it's fun to watch, and it was fun while it's happening, but is it helping us really beat a Kentucky? Because guess what's, I think we all unfortunately probably see it coming that we're going to go to Lexington and we're going to struggle to run the football. And then what? We didn't take the opportunity against these small opponents where we can try different things. We didn't take the opportunity to do so. Because Lexington's not going to be the place to, let's try a bunch of different things. And no, at that point, bro, you got to go what you got, So that's, it's I don't think it's anybody not satisfied or happy with the win. It's just knowing what's looming. It's a similar feeling to Georgia State, not as amplified because we won by 36 points, but that's my biggest thing. I mean, like you said, man, we know Marshawn Lloyd has talent. Of course, if he has holes, he's going to have success, right? But we're going to need Spencer Rattler down the stretch, man. We're just going to need him. And so you talk about building confidence and momentum. I mean, I don't know that those swing passes he threw did a whole lot for his confidence. They've got to use SC State, in my mind, to build his confidence. I mean, he needs to feel good about something because right now he sits with 2 touchdowns and 5 picks. That's just what he is right now with his numbers.
Yeah. And to jump off of that point, I feel like it was a little overkill with the run. Like, I feel like we already had established
very conservative
at one point in the third quarter.
It was very conservative.
I feel like in the third quarter we established, okay, we can run the ball, and I felt like it was the time. Let's open it up a little bit. Let's throw a couple balls downfield. We got them on the heels, and we didn't do it. Right. And like you said, we need to get his confidence going. Let's get him a touchdown or 2. You know what I mean? Let's get him in the end zone some, because we're going to need him to make some of those plays later on. So this week really does need to be, let's get Spencer Rattler involved in the passing game. I don't want to see another 400-yard rushing game and we got 150 yards passing. That, you know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of not going to help us going forward.
Right. No, I agree. Again, that's great minds think alike, because that's exactly what I said on the podcast. And again, I'm happy for Marshawn Lloyd, and obviously the hope is from that game that the offensive line builds some confidence, and they've seen some success, and at minimum they can just play better when we get back into SEC play. I'm not expecting them to be elite, but they can just play better. But man, I really think you need to get the pass going. And two, man, it's crazy. It feels kind of crazy to be as critical as we're going to be, obviously, about the offense when you score 56 points. And the first team offense, went 7 for 7 on their drives, and that's great. I mean, that's great, taking nothing away. But again, it's kind of wild, right? Like a couple of weeks ago, Marcus Satterfield was asked about what do you want your identity to be, right? And he told us. We didn't want to listen. We thought it was a smoke screen.
I don't want to believe it.
We're playing Georgia. He's trying to throw him off. Bro, I think that's who he really wants to be. 12 or 13 personnel, run for 275, throw for 200, 220, whatever. I think that's what he wants to be. And again, I think we all agree that plan, that is not a great plan for success here. Or for most schools, for that matter, not named Alabama and Georgia.
That plan will land him at a different school.
Yeah,
that plan will land him at a different school next year.
Yeah, I'd agree 110% because unfortunately, like if we do this, I'll tell you this: if we do the same thing against SC State, to me, it shows that Satterfield is just set in his ways. He is just not willing to go off of that. He believes wholeheartedly his scheme above all else is superior. Because here's the thing, my man. Again, Marshawn Lloyd, fantastic game. Ground game, fantastic game. Jaheim Bell had 2 catches. Antoine Wells had 2 or 3 catches. Like these guys that we need, that we're gonna need. I would still look at the game on Saturday night and say, are we really getting the most out of the playmakers we have? Like I don't know how you can say yes. So
I'll say this before I get off. Closing, 2 things. One, the defense. The takeaway there, we did do a lot better in the second half. I'm just really worried. I know we're thin up front. I don't see us causing a lot of pressures as much as we should, especially against like a team like Charlotte. It took us a long time to finally get home on that guy. The first half, we couldn't do anything. Worried about that moving forward. And all, you know what I mean? And also, what do you think as far as going into that SC State game? What do you think is a good landing point for Spencer Rattler? Do you think what's the mark? Do you think we need to get him to 300 yards pass and 2 touchdowns? I mean, you think that's possible at this point?
Is it possible? Yes. Will we do it? I don't know. And what would I want him to? I mean, dude, I'd love to see him throw for 400. I mean, I don't think, I think you play him for 3 full quarters, and as many as he can rack up in 3 full quarters, you do it. You know what I mean? So, because, I mean, I know a lot of people would say, well, get him out of there by halftime, avoid injury. I've had people hit me up about that, but I need him to build up as much confidence as he can. And I know it's SC State. Yeah. It doesn't matter, but, again, it comes back to just seeing success, having success, right? He needs some confidence, man. Like the guy sitting there, 2 TDs, 5 picks. Where is he mentally right now? Truly, where is he mentally? Yeah. I'm sitting there watching the ESPNU broadcast, and they're calling Spencer Rattler a game manager. And that to me, I wanted to vomit. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Bro. I swear I did.
I just never thought. And I think that's where, we sit here again, exactly where I picked us to be. I think after watching Saturday night, I think, and who knows what's going to happen, right? We showed last year, second half of the season, we had a surge, and that could happen again. I think realistically right now we're probably a 6-6 team. Maybe we're 7-5. I mean, maybe, but dude, Mizzou should have beat Auburn. I think that Mizzou game might be a fight. God forbid Vandy looks as good as they've looked in years, and that you should win that game, but there's no givens with this team, in my opinion. So you win. Let's just say you get those 2, and then who's the 6th win? Is it going to be Kentucky? Is it going to be A&M? Is it going to be Tennessee, who looks really, really good? Is it Florida, who looks, I think, pretty damn good? Is it going to be Clemson, who you haven't beaten since 2013? I mean, that's just going for the 6th win. I ain't even talking about number 7 or number 8. So,
I know.
And I'm not trying to be pessimistic on it. I just think Spencer Rattler, we're gonna have to get more out of him. Because I see like
Kentucky looks beatable though.
No, they do. No, I think Kentucky's overrated.
Kentucky almost lost it. I feel like that if we can win that Kentucky game and we're 4-2 at that point, I feel like the sky's the limit. I feel like every Gamecock fan will be optimistic. Top 10 win.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's
dude. They got to beat Ole Miss first this week, and they might not even win that game. They might not even win that game.
And even if they don't, they'll still be top 25.
Oh yeah,
they'll still be
because they're 7th right now. So. But to the game manager point, Bree points out that game manager should be a compliment and everything, and Stetson Bennett's a game manager. Well, Stetson Bennett is on Georgia. You know, like, so
Yeah.
if I felt like we could go run for
look like a game manager right now.
if we, and yeah, for sure. But if I'm saying, you know, if we could go run for 295 a game, well, then hell. But like, here's my question. And I know I'm keeping you on the line, but
You're
dude,
good, bro.
I look at the statistics and I'm like, Luke Doty could be where Spencer Rattler's at statistically. 2 TDs and 5 picks. If we just wanted a game manager, why did we bring Spencer Rattler here in the first place? That's not, I don't feel like, I didn't think that's what I was signing up for with him. I didn't think we brought him in here to be a game manager. I thought we brought him in here to be a difference maker.
I got one more question, quick. End of the game there when they put Doty in. And I know it's the end of the game. Did it not seem like they opened the playbook up some? Why was he chunking balls down the field left and right?
Either
the whole game.
Yeah,
I didn't understand.
Either that or Luke Doty figures, hey, I'm on the bench anyways, and I got nothing to lose. I'm just going to chunk it up. I'm just going to chuck it up. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, again, I would say, I mean, the downfield passing game, were there plays there and Rattler's just gun shy? I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, because Luke Doty didn't seem to have any trouble going down the field.
Ask the Rat King what he thought about Spencer on Saturday. I'm sure he'll know more than we do. So
yeah, we're waiting on the roach to. Yeah, we're waiting on the roach.
The Roach King. I'm sorry, I said the Rat King. The Roach King.
Roach King is somewhere. I don't know where he's at, but he's somewhere, I guess. So.
Anyway, all right, brother. I'll hop off of here, man.
Hey, man.
Later.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for the call. Great stuff as always from our guy. Let's see. My guy Travis Ward texted in, by the way. Travis Ward, if you don't know who he is, he's this guy right here. Made this helmet behind me. He says, hey, man, really want to call in, but I'm unable. Just one talking point if you want to bring it up. Satterfield stated he didn't want to bring Rattler to Columbia to hand the ball off. Yeah, here we are.
Call from.
Good point, Travis. Eric. Here, let's hold on. Eric, what's up, man? How are you?
Man, I'm good, man. I hope you enjoyed the day so far.
Yeah, man. What's going on? How you feeling? You not at the gym today?
No. I got a few things I want to express. One, when I was looking at the game on Saturday, and we were just talking Georgia just real quickly, that when Georgia was came to Carolina, we only scored 7 points. But Penn State went to Georgia and they scored 22 points. And I was just thinking, like, damn, we should be better than Penn State. Why couldn't we have put points on the board? And, you know, to show ourselves, like, irrelevant, so to speak. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I actually do not mind Carolina running the ball as much as they do. And the reason is because we're going to go up against teams that have a period, big offensive lines, defensive lines, things of that nature. And in order for us to win, we're going to have to slow down the game. We're going to have to keep their offense on the field, on the sidelines. Tennessee, let's say even Texas A&M. You know, the other teams that we're going to have to play during this season, because we know that the SEC is all about the line. That's all it is. And also, when I look at Spencer Rattler, I don't know what to say about him. Yeah, I was excited to hear that he's coming to Carolina. But at the same time, after these last couple of games, I don't know what to expect out of him. Hopefully they turn things around. But maybe is it possible just to say that the running game is going to help him in the long run, like when we really need him to perform? Because if we don't have a running game, then I just don't think that things are going to just balance itself out. I hope I'm not confusing you, but it's just kind of weird that he's not what I expected him to be. He's not kind of sharp, of course. But at the same time, I would just rather run the ball. If that gets us to 66, 11-5, 84, I'd rather run the ball. And then maybe Spencer can find some of that mojo that he had when he first came out and all of this kind of stuff. That we'll be able to use him. He'll be able to come through when we really need him. That's all I have to say, brother. Have a good day. Thank you.
Aaron, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. Interesting takes for sure on the Rattler usage or lack thereof. A lot of you were asking about Steven Garcia. Guys, I do not know where the Roach King is right now. Roach King has not reached out to me. Roach King has not reached out to me. So we are waiting on, I don't know where the Roach King is, honestly. I don't know. I've texted him. Y'all want to go tweet at Roach King? Y'all want to send him a DM? You can do that. I texted him early this morning, and then texted him about 11:45 and sent him the link, and we are just waiting on the Roach King. So I don't know if maybe it was a long Sunday night for Roach King, or he's got the kids or got something going on or whatever. But or maybe he's dealing with the storm. I don't know. Maybe he's dealing with the storm down in Tampa. I don't know. Or I guess I haven't looked at the weather, so if there is a storm, I guess I didn't know. I'm just seeing a comment. Let's see. Let's jump to the TDC questions channel, the Big Cock Club Discord, because we got some banter going on in there. Craig Phillips says, I know a lot of us had thoughts of Rattler may not be what we thought he was after the game. Could it just be him sitting out a year that messed him up with his gameplay? I mean, he did play last year. I know he didn't play the entire season, but he did play last year. Zach Attack says, I'm a little confused. We literally scored on every time possession in the first half. It was just our defense that didn't hold up at first. Beamer also said they were trying to run the ball 40 times. They wanted to run the ball, legit their game plan. I believe that they were trying to make it so that we didn't look one-dimensional. Also, for clarification purposes, I'm just playing devil's advocate. And, Zach, that's totally fine. I guess I know, Zach, I saw Coach Beamer's postgame. I know that was the game plan. And I understand it. Like, I get it, right? You go into a game like that, like, you know you can have success running the football because you're bigger than them.
Aaron.
It's that simple. There we go.
To accept.
Aaron, what's up, man?
Yo, what's happening, man? How's everything going?
Doing well. What's going on?
Typical Gamecock fashion. I say we. You know how this fan base does. You know, it's a freaking awesome game against Charlotte. The offense came to play. They put a good performance on the field. Let's say after that first drive, I was looking for my wallet the whole time, and it's right there. But yeah, they put a good drive together. They put a good game plan together, and after that first drive, they kind of put it on. Charlotte. I look at the message boards yesterday. We got one dude comparing Lloyd to Lattimore. And we, for some reason, we always get over our skis. This was a great game, and this should be something. Hopefully, it's a game that the offense can build off of. Something they can build off of. Hopefully, the offensive line knows what it feels like to just mash somebody, and Lloyd knows what it feels like to get some space to operate with. But the rest of the schedule ain't going to be Charlotte, man. And that's we all see it coming. This was a great. It was a good performance, but we will, we got tougher competition down the line. And that's what it's kind of the day we're all ruined that day until 2 weeks from now. We're wondering what's going to happen because the next game is going to be just a walk in the park. Well, it should be a walk in the park anyway. Defense, after halftime, they put a better performance on the field, but it's no way they should have marched up and down the field like they did. I don't know about that defense. I told you before the season started, I wasn't sure about the defensive line. You don't lose your best defensive lineman. You don't lose your best safety, and you don't lose. Staley wasn't He was really good on special teams, but he was so at linebacker. You don't lose that type of depth and that many snaps on defense and get better. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm not saying it's doom and gloom for the rest of the season, but I think I'm still in wait and see mode. I want to see them put together a bomb game plan against better competition.
Yeah, and look, that's fair. I mean, that's fair. I mean, again, to your point, you know, we weren't sitting there in June, July, August getting all hyped up because we're like, man, I can't wait to beat Charlotte this season. Can't wait to beat SC State. Can't wait to beat Georgia State. This season was never about that. It was about beating the Georgias, the Arkansas, the Kentuckys. So this is all great. Saturday was great. It's going to be great when you go beat SC State's ass. But if you don't beat Kentucky and the same issues arise and you look like you've made no progress, it's just kind of all for naught, right? And that's just the reality because, again, the goal is to win SEC games, not just win your non-conference games.
Arkansas was a measuring stick to me. Only reason being, the guys came in. No, they didn't come in at the same time. I think he's a year ahead of Shane Beamer. But they're both, and neither were coordinators and got the head job. And he put a product on the field that COVID year, they only won like 3 games, but he put he was a tough out every game. And I wanted to see that last year from this Gamecock squad, but most of the time we got blown off the field, especially on the road.
Right.
I just really want to see him. I want to see him play tough. I don't think this team. I'm not calling them soft just yet. I want to see 2 more big time games. Well, bigger games than Charlotte and SC State. I want to see where they're tough, because in all honesty, Arkansas blew them off the ball. Georgia's a different aspect because they're going to blow most people off the ball. But I haven't seen the toughness that I would like to see from this team. What do you say to that? If you were to gauge the toughness of the squad, what would you say?
We're talking like physicality? We talking mental toughness? What are we?
I'm talking about. But you give it all to me. Just tell me what you think about the total toughness of the team. Physicality, I know they are.
Yeah, I mean, and I think with physicality, I mean, the proof's just kind of in the pudding, man. I mean, when you get pushed around in SEC play, and I mean, I'll say this though, like, is it more so we just have guys that are limited talent wise? Because, you know, I mean, I hate to call a guy soft when, you know, he's given all he's got and he's tough mentally, but he just ain't big enough to win the battle. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say Charlotte's kids are, you know, are soft, right? We're just bigger than them, bigger, more physical, stronger, whatever. But you know, physicality up front is an issue, right? I mean, when you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run, and that's not, you know, I'm talking conference opponents. When you can't run the ball, can't stop the run, physicality is an issue. I think we are a mentally tough team. I don't think we're a mentally weak team by any means, because a mentally weak team would let a game like Georgia. But then again, that game kind of maybe did it linger in the first half of Charlotte. I don't know. But I feel like after last year, Shane Beamer's team and Shane Beamer and that staff showed that, you know, they're gonna coach a bunch of fighters and, you know, whatever. I will tell you this though, Aaron. Maybe this will be just a terribly unpopular take, but I don't really care. You know what's the most overstated and I think overrated thing about football teams, like by college fans, is we just got a bunch of guys that they don't quit, man, and they play with great effort. And I'm like, bro, that is expecting the bare minimum. You know, like you're on scholarship, and now a lot of you are getting paid. Like, I understand it feels very, and I'm not trying to be the old guy in the room. It feels very participation trophy-ish. You know what I mean? Like, bro, if you don't play hard, you shouldn't even be on the team. That shouldn't even be an option, right? So, like, I see people that are like, we got a bunch of guys that, they just never quit. And I'm like, dude, no shit, they don't quit. They shouldn't quit. They're on scholarship to play. They're playing a sport. Like, that is like just that's like getting a text back from somebody you're talking to, and they're a horrible boyfriend or girlfriend otherwise, but they just text you back and they're like, oh, they're just the greatest. They love me so much. It's like, it's okay to expect more than just the bare minimum. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to like rain on anybody that, listen, give credit to, a football team being resilient, mentally tough. But like, I see a lot of people, they pull that card like every week. And it's like, man, we're going to go to Lexington and give them hell because we got a bunch of guys who play hard and don't quit. It's like, do you think Kentucky's guys don't play hard? You think they quit? I mean, you're not playing SEC football if you can't play hard, right? And I don't think I'm crazy for saying that. I don't know. Like, let's stop rewarding the bare minimum on a daily basis. Like, bro, washing machines work hard. I don't see them getting a medal for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like just because you work hard, all you tuned in work hard. Ain't nobody patting you on the back on a daily basis.
That's like that Texas A&M game last year. When me, that game was embarrassing. That game was embarrassing. Don't come to the press conference telling me that you didn't give up. Of course you didn't. I mean, you were getting freaking demolished. Okay, right. You didn't give up. Jason Brown scored in garbage time. That's phenomenal.
And some people are going to hear that and think I'm just terrible. But it's like, I'm just like, dude, I get it saying it once, and I know Coach Beamer just wants to be positive, but it's like, bro, at least the kids didn't quit. It's like they're literally on scholarship. Like, if they quit, they should be cut. If you're in the NFL and you quit on your team, you're getting cut. You're getting fined at minimum, right? Hey, that's a great question, by the way, Aaron, and maybe something for a different time. But now that NIL's a thing, could they start fining players? That'd be something, wouldn't it? That'd be something. You show up late to a meeting, that's $100.
I never thought about.
Wouldn't that be some shit?
I never thought about that aspect of it. But I mean, you got NIL. What happens when you go to your day job every day and you don't give a full effort? You
don't even have a job. You don't. So I mean, I'm just, this is just big bad Chris coming out, but it's okay to expect more than the bare minimum, man. That's all I'm saying. It's okay.
Hey, yo, I'm gonna be in Columbia. I'm gonna be in Columbia I'm thinking. So I fly into Gainesville on the 10th. I'll be going to the Florida South Carolina game,
okay.
And I'm flying into Columbia that Sunday. Well, I think Charlotte because it's like $200 cheaper. Yeah, I'm gonna be there that whole week. So I'm gonna see what's going on out in that town, man. See if Columbia go do me right like we used to. Hit up the Oyster Bar and chill on out.
I love it, man.
I'm going to holler at you, man. You have a good show.
Yeah, Aaron, when you're in Columbia, let me know, man. Would love to link up with you.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a good one. You go find me at that Forest Drive Move Fitness because I got Move Fitness out here, too. So
I love that. Forest Drive Move Fitness. Put them on high alert.
All right, bro. I'm going to holler.
All right, man. Sounds good. We'll talk soon. And, yes, I also noticed that. I think Aaron literally called in back-to-back. I'm pretty sure that just happened. Guys, I don't know where the Roach King is. I have texted the Roach King. And there it is. Kickoff time. South Carolina, Kentucky. 7:30 p.m. kickoff. A night game in Lexington.
Justin.
Let's jump to the phone line. Justin, what's going on? How are you?
Not much, Chris. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
Hey, Chris. I was kind of happy with the stock up last night, but man, I'm still not happy with the slow starts, man. It's just I don't know what this offense is trying to be, man. I mean, look, I try to have patience, I try, but it's not easy, man.
Yeah, I mean, the slow starts have got to stop. And let's get it out there too, Justin. Great win, 36-point win. Love the way we respond in the second half. Love seeing the first team offense go 7 for 7 scoring in regards to their drives. Slow starts, you got to get fixed. Slow starts have got to get fixed. Bottom line, that needs to be the two priorities this week, in my opinion, should be passing attack and starting fast. Those two things. And again, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's something in practice that you really can do to fix that, right? Like, I don't know that you really practice starting fast, but something's got to give. Something's got to happen, man. You can get away with it with Charlotte and with SC State, but you go to Kentucky and we saw it at Arkansas, right? Like you fall down 21-3. 14-3. Good teams are not going to let you come back. Good teams they're going to keep their foot on your throat, and they're not going to let you come back. You can't always bank on, we'll just get them in the second half. By then, it's too late. So, starting fast, got to improve. But, I will tell you this. This is a coach's greatest wish and my greatest wish also. It's great to be able to nitpick and learn things coming off of a victory. Right, versus coming off a defeat. Like when you can learn things coming off a win, that is the biggest positive. So at least that is maybe the biggest positive of this week is that, hey, we have all these criticisms and things we're nitpicking, but it comes in a 36-point victory. Because like I said at the top of the show, I don't think it's the proper approach to be just negative, just criticizing to death. But I also don't think it's the proper approach to be Garnet Glass's spin zone, like, oh my God, we beat Charlotte. We're 10-2s back on. Like, I don't think you need to be somewhere in the middle. The middle's where the truth lies. So, So, but either way, I think you make some great points.
Yeah, hey Chris, if they're about Sean, one thing about Sean, hey, we won the cause. We didn't win the battle. We didn't win the war, but we won the battle. Is that ridiculous, Chris?
Yeah, we won the battle. No, yeah, for sure, man. And emphatically won the battle. Emphatically won it.
Oh, yeah. And Chris, we thought something was already wait for us, man. I feel bad for both teams. Heart rate killing, you know that?
Yeah, Mizzou was brutal. I mean, you hate to see anybody lose that way. That was a brutal game. Wake Forest, I obviously just hated they didn't beat Clemson. They didn't get the job done. Hell of a football game. It's just tough the way it happened, man.
Yeah.
It's tough the way it happened.
Yeah, hey, Chris. Yeah, that's true, Chris. Hey, Chris, let me tell you, you want to hear something funny?
What's up? Yeah, I want to hear something funny. Make me laugh.
Hey, Chris, guess what? Are you surprised that Chris Auburn celebrated like they won the damn Super Bowl,
That who act like they won the Super Bowl?
Auburn and Clemson, they fans celebrated, because we beat Wake Forest. Missouri. Yeah, well, y'all celebrated because y'all act like you won a damn Super Bowl,
Yeah, I mean, hey, I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's fun to win, man. It's fun to win. I mean, I'm gonna be celebrating like we won the damn Super Bowl. We beat Kentucky, so don't hate me for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to win, my guy. Winning is fun. Winning is fun. Winning is indeed fun.
Oh yeah. Hey, Chris, before I go, man, I feel bad for Jack Collins, man. He got fired yesterday, man. I mean, Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Yeah, maybe they can go after Deion Sanders or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, that was a short-lived tenure for him. So I don't know. Tech's a hard place to win. Tech's a hard place to win, but they made a change. So
yeah, because it is. I mean, because there's no fun being fired. And like I said, why can't people fix our sleeves? But nope, let's get with them now. That.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to do it.
Yep. Well, Chris, that's all I have to say, man.
Justin, I appreciate the call, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Take care, my brother.
Yeah, man. Be good. All right. Appreciate Justin calling in, guys. We're going to jump into a quick break. In regards to Stephen Garcia, the Roach King, I got no clue where he's at. I got no clue where the Roach King is. So I've texted him. Y'all want to reach out to him on social media. I don't know what Roach King's up to. I have no idea. So Guys, we're going to jump into a quick break, but I want to continue to hear from you, more of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. In case you missed it, South Carolina, Kentucky officially set for a 7:30 kickoff in Lexington in just under, I should say, 2 weeks. As you probably all already know, I will be at my sister's wedding that day, which we're not going to say anything negative or anything poor about my sister planning the wedding the day of the Kentucky game. But either way, is what it is. We will be at the wedding, and I guess I will be that guy. The wedding is at 5:30. I will be that guy at the wedding, at the reception, watching the game. So I guess that's how I guess I'm going to have to be that guy. It is what it is. So anyways, guys, taking your questions, comments, calls. Let's jump back to the lines.
Call from
Bree.
Bree, what's going on? How are you?
What's up, Chris? How are you? Oh, hey, of a negative note, it's very shameful that you're going to your sister's wedding on Kentucky date. Okay, that's not cool. I'm just kidding, buddy.
Well, I think my mom would
so...
disown me. So I think my mom would literally disown me.
No, I was just picking at you because you just said, let's not be negative. No, man, that's one of those things you just got to do, man. So, it is what it is. So I want to pick up on something. Obviously, one of the things I address each week is the identity of the offense, and I do believe that Satterfield has found it. I think he was still meddling a little too much when he was in Georgia, but it is exactly what I was calling for, where he's moving out of the ace formation and the shotgun formation, and he's changing the personnel with those formations. But I really feel like he's identified which formations are working for his offense now. My one criticism is I think it took him a little too long. I'm hoping he's going to stick with what he's doing, and all of a sudden he doesn't decide he needs to try to get, I don't know, fancy or something, or add some other weird formation or something, as we enter back in the league play. I think he needs to have his weapons down packed once we get to Kentucky. But I think he has, and I think he's identified it. A lot of people were critical about him putting Spencer under center, but it's actually worked out. The pocket tends to form a little bit better when Spencer's coming from under center than when he was in shotgun. I had noticed that. So I think that's all good. I think the formations are identified. I think I hope, judging from what I've seen, that they've figured out what works, because I saw, if you go back to me talking about Arkansas and Georgia, I saw pockets of the running game working. As we had discussed, there were pockets. I think they were still identifying what could work. Hopefully they've identified it. They've hammered home the point in this game that they do have run potential. I hope they go back, as you stated, by SC. We need to see Spencer throwing a little more, airing it out, because we are going to need that. So I think they've figured out that identity. Now, I had tons of notes on the offense, Chris, as far as gameplay and whatnot. My biggest thing was that that last drive of the first half. I don't agree with Beamer's assessment that they did a really good job there getting 3 points. I gave them almost a failing grade on that drive. I'll discuss that in detail maybe tomorrow or something when I call in, because I wanted to talk about the D today. The defense took a lot of heat, about their first quarter play and first half play. And when I went back, and then I did too, I think I tweeted to you that night. I was like, I said, hey, I'm not happy about this first half score. But honestly, I wasn't watching the game really hard Saturday night. I think, I was kind of out meeting, greeting, and doing stuff and meeting people and whatnot. So I didn't really watch the game super hard Saturday night. But when I woke up Sunday morning, I started really breaking it down as usual. What I noticed, and backwards of what I'm hearing from a lot of people, what I really noticed was that Clayton White come out super aggressive. He was sending a lot of blitzers early and leaving our DBs on the island a lot, like early in the game. And they picked on Fortune a couple of times in those matchups. He's our youngest DB, I guess, on out there starting. So they picked on him a couple of times, which would be expected. But in those two scoring drives in the first half, there was a huge no intentional grounding call. And you got to think, when a defensive coordinator dials up a blitz package, needs it to get home. And they did get home. The quarterback throws the ball away, though, and it's an intentional grounding call should have been called. So it should have been a 3rd and long instead of like it was a 3rd and 10. Now, sure, we had still stopped them on 3rd and 10, of course. But that's still huge. And Beamer addressed it in the press conference where he said, at halftime they had said, hey, we can't change the call. So Beamer said he wanted his players to play with more energy, but he kind of also spoke about not changing the calls, So he also, I could tell that they weren't happy with those calls. In those first 2 drives, there was, like I said, a missed intentional grounding call. There was pass interferences called that were questionable, and they weren't showing us a replay on the broadcast of those, which was very weird. Usually you see replays, you know what I mean? Like, they weren't showing us any replay at home, but you could see, the crowd, you could hear the crowd, you could see the coach's reaction when they're watching the replays at the event, because obviously they're looking at a replay, and you could see Beamer doing his hands like, what is that? What is that? And he's arguing with the officials, So there were obviously some questionable calls there, especially on Cam Smith. We know that guy is clean. Yeah, was he kind of come over the top of that back in the end zone? Yeah, but we've seen him make that play a million times with no contact. Cam makes that play a lot. So it's kind of, I heard the announcer, or the commentator go, he was all over his back, but you can be jumping over the top of somebody like that and not make contact, Right. And they never showed a replay on that. They never showed us a replay at home. I never had any other angle other than one angle where you could say, well, yeah, he was over top of them, but was he making any contact? I couldn't tell. So they were questionable. And then in the 3rd drive, Clayton White kind of started changing up the scheme a little bit to me, where he wasn't quite proud. Like, he was leaving his guys, like he was straight blitzing, 6 guys and leaving everybody in straight man. And the quarterback made some amazing throws, dude. These guys were making diving catches. Both of the touchdowns were literally diving catches where our DBs were right there, right on top of them, man. They weren't uncontested, but the quarterback put it where nobody could get it but his guy, making an amazing catch after questionable calls kept allowing the drive to go on. I think the criticism of those first 2 drives is just slightly unwarranted. Just slightly unwarranted.
As a whole, are you worried about the defense moving forward? And I'm not really talking about against SC State. I'm talking more about when you get back into SEC play. Does the defense concern you?
I'm going to tell you this. Obviously, where the concerns are in our, we had injuries, and we're down a couple of guys. Some of those guys are going to be back. I think Rush will be back, once we get back to SEC play. We do need him. I don't think Dial is as good of a cornerback as Rush is. I don't think Fortune is as good of a cornerback as Rush is, but I think they're playing well. The D-line, okay, so these are my notes on here. The D-line continues to get penetration, okay? The D-line continues to get penetration into the backfield, but they're missing the sack. They're not containing the quarterback. In 3 straight games, really even going back to Georgia State, 4 straight games, we are getting in their backfield. And the D linemen that are breaking through, or whoever breaks through, not getting the quarterback. They're letting them do a little spin move out or whatever, spin the play, and find somebody downfield. That's a question mark. Beamer said he saw the same thing where we should have gotten sacks in the first half and we weren't, and then we fixed it, and then we were getting them in the second half. But for me, that wasn't a question of whether they were playing hard enough. They just, something in the technique, something was off. Something's been off where these guys are either taking the wrong angles at the quarterback, they're making the penetration. That's a concern. If they don't start making those big plays, and I said that to you last week, if Zach Pickens and Jordan Birch are 5-star rated and they are getting penetration, but they're not making the solo tackles that they should be, that's a question mark, man. That's a huge question mark.
Yeah, I'd agree with you 110%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I am concerned. I am concerned. I had this concern in the preseason, but I am concerned with this defense that if this defense does not get turnovers at the rate, like, again, that you saw Saturday night, I think this is a defense that we will look back at, and I think this is probably going to happen inevitably, that we're going to look back at the end of the season and say the defense took a step back this year. I'd love to be wrong, but I don't see at this point kind of the same guys up front. You still can't stop the run against quality competition. I think the secondary, you know what? I'm just going to say it. I think the secondary was a little bit over advertised. I think the secondary wasn't as good as advertised. I know they were a top 10 nationally pass defense, but again, I think that was last year because you could not stop the run. You've also, again, lost some guys due to injury. I'm not saying, listen, there's guys you've lost to injury, but linebacker is still kind of an eyesore. So I think that Clayton White, I got no issues with him as the D coordinator, but I think the defense, this is a defense that has to get turnovers to be effective. Has to. If they don't get them, there are weaknesses, there are holes, there are vulnerabilities. I think they get exposed.
Well, on that note, DQ Smith looks like he's going to be phenomenal. And he had 2 interceptions that basically he didn't get. You know what I mean? He almost had 3 interceptions in the game.
Yeah.
So that kid, that is a good note on our defense. DQ Smith, obviously, Eamon Worry. These are our freshman guys coming in. Fortune, like I said, I don't know. I'm not sold on him yet, of course, or not sold on him, you know, but he is a young kid as well. Our DBs that are coming in that are young you know, so that's a good sign. That's a good sign that we have young players coming in and doing well already when they're inexperienced. So that's a good sign. I don't know if this year, I don't know, but of things going forward, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I love seeing those young guys ball out. I mean, even Worry looks like one of those Spurrier era guys. So, yeah, I mean, there's talent coming in, man, for sure, especially up front. I just, you know, I think this year's group specifically, it just, I don't know. We have to continue to get the turnovers. That's it.
And like I said, I wasn't going to call in, take up too much time. I see that Mondays is like the day lots of people like to call in.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I will say on a positive, because I got lots of negative notes on the offense and this stuff I'll go over with you like another day this week. I did notice, you know, I've been watching Spencer's pocket movement for weeks now. You know, everybody started calling for it this last week or so, talking about it more. I know Garcia, you know, Roach King had said something about it too very early, but a lot of people weren't talking about it. Now it's being talked about. I actually watched it. He did well. So those drills that Coach Beamer said they were making him drill, stepping up in the pocket, that showed in this game. So that actually did show itself in this game. I went back, I broke them down a lot. And other than one play where he got sacked, and that was at the end of the half, that was in that drive that I'll go into details about how I had a failing, you know, score for them on that drive. It was a little bit on Spencer, it was a little bit on the coaches, a little bit on everybody in that particular moment. But I'll talk about that like tomorrow, Wednesday, something like that. I'll call back in, you know that. But yeah, other than that, man, I mean, like I said, as far as Spencer thing goes, he moved very well in the pocket. I would have liked to have, like you said, I wanted to see more Spencer big passes, something for us to know that maybe his accuracy's coming back, that his big play potential is still there, whatnot, that we're all hoping for, you know, but I'm not displeased. He made, you know, the underpasses that I also thought he needs to be made.
Right.
So, but he moved well in the pocket now. He's working on that. So hopefully he's going to keep working on that, and we'll see how that goes. You know, it's going to be a lot different, you know, once we get to Kentucky. And I'm gonna end this with letting you know, I am starting to look forward into the schedule in Kentuckians, and to a positive note for all the Gamecocks fans. As I've already started breaking down a couple of games for Kentucky, they might not be as far ahead of us as we want to have in our brains, guys. They do look to have, so far through 2 games, they do look to have some holes in their defense. That might be why Satterfield was concentrating on getting our running game right, because Kentucky look like they're struggling. They struggled a little bit even when we were struggling against Georgia State that day. They were struggling a little bit against Miami of Ohio as well. So on their opener.
Yeah.
So, and they were struggling stopping some runs and stuff. So we might not be that bad going into Kentucky, guys. Everybody should keep the optimism going. You know, it's not doom or gloom yet. We're gonna know a lot in Kentucky, but I do see positives looking at Kentucky's play already. And Florida too. I mean, I saw, you know, the Florida game while I'm watching Kentucky, of course. And I'm like, well, it might not be so bad, guys. We might pick up some of these wins that people weren't expecting. So,
Bree, I love it. I appreciate the call. Always great insight.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, we'll do it again soon. Appreciate you. Great stuff from Bree as always, guys. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Guys, again, I have no clue where the Roach King is. We might just have no Roach King. I guess that's the beauty, though. Not I guess. That is. That's the beauty of the Daily Crow. You know, I brought on the guests, and it's, you know, I'm sure there's something going on with Steven. And, you know, obviously, hopefully he's okay. That's the number one thing. But the beauty of the Daily Crow, guys, is, you know, for the longest time, what did we do the Daily Crow for? Basically 2 years without any guests ever, hardly at least. And so, you know, we can do this show, obviously, without guests and just us talking and conversating and talking Gamecocks and taking your questions and your comments and everything else. If you guys want to keep calling in, man, I'd love for you all to flood the phone lines. Again, 843-790-3377. In case you missed it, South Carolina, Kentucky set for a 7:30 kickoff in Lexington, which, you know, not shocking to that being that. I feel like it's always a night game. I feel like it's always a night game at their place. But, yeah, so. Jesse Jacob says, I wouldn't say the D-line hasn't developed. I think the talent just is what it is. Like Gilbert Edmonds developed greatly with a few others, just don't have great five-star talent there. Which I hear you, but it's funny, Jesse, that you say that because, I mean, you think Zach Pickens and Jordan Birch are indeed. They are indeed five-star players. So, anyways, guys, we sit here on this Victory Monday. A Victory Monday. Brendan Hyder says, so far we've won our night games this year. Well, Brendan, our 2 night games were against Georgia State and Charlotte. Thank God we've won our night games, right? But, again, a great win overall. Great win overall. Positive win. I see Coach Ford, by the way. Coach Ford, I see you commenting, my friend. Coach Ford is just basically not counting. He's just not. Hold on 1 second, my guy. We got a black screen. All right, we're good. Okay, so the question, going back for those who may have missed it on the stream, is about Spencer Rattler and the velocity in which he throws the football with. Does he throw it too hard? That is not something Steven has brought up. So if it is something, I would have loved to have asked that today. Maybe we still will if we get him on late. But that's not something we discussed. It's more so been about, obviously, him being jittery in the pocket, if you will, and those issues. But I do see your point. I will say a guy like Anthony Richardson at Florida, I see that as a lot more of a concern for a guy like him. Like when I watch him, he's literally throwing every pass like 100 miles an hour. You obviously want to throw a catchable ball, right? You obviously want to spin a catchable ball. You don't want to throw it too hard for your receivers. And I'll be honest, that hasn't been something that's necessarily really stood out to me, but I would be curious to get Steven Garcia's take, but I don't know if it's something that has been so much of a problem, you know what I mean, that we're gonna that we've felt the need to bring it up. But you know, it's definitely something to keep an eye on for sure. And I think too, man, when you're a guy like Rattler and you're not, let's just call it for what it is, right? You're just not having success. I mean, you're gonna look at everything, right? So touch is a big part of it. So you know, definitely throwing a catchable ball is a big deal. So that's definitely something I'll be keeping an eye on now.
All right, buddy. Good luck to you. Take care.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for the call. Great stuff.
Bye-bye.
Great stuff. And I appreciate the well wishes. Moving up to the upstate. Are we good now? Can you guys see me, hear me? We should be good. I can see and hear myself on my end. So, can you guys see and hear me? we back? Are we back? Anybody? Mike. Okay, we're good. All right, awesome. Just saw a couple I think sometimes the comments come in late, so I'm like, wait, is it still a problem? AJ Bowers texted and said, hey, Chris, this is AJ. Just a couple questions. First, how come nobody's talking about the strength and conditioning coaches being fired? AJ, do you see conditioning being a problem? I mean, if anything, we're playing better football in the second half as the game goes on. That's an interesting take. He also says, our guys are always getting hurt. And also, how come we didn't take the next step in year 2 like Tennessee did? Well, first thing is this, AJ, the season's young. So we could go on to go 8-4, right? And then you'd say, well, we did take the next step like a Tennessee did, right? As far as guys getting hurt, I hear you.
Call from
but
Joe Pilla.
some of it's luck.
to accept, press 1. To send a voice.
Joe, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, good. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
Hey, I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm down here in Columbia. I thought I'd call in on this show. It's pretty good show you got going on here.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, and glad to hear there's a Pennsylvania Gamecock out there. I can't say I've ever ventured to PA, but I've heard great things.
I'll tell you, I think I've been to more Gamecock games than Penn State, Notre Dame combined. That's how much I've been down here.
I love that. I love to hear that.
It's a great environment, but my assessment, I've been around, Penn State football for years, Notre Dame football for years. Lou Holtz was one of my favorites. I mean, it's almost like in this world, we just want instant success. Shane Beamer, great guy, great coach, great motivator, great relationship, man. He's the CEO of the organization. And my assessment is he's got to evaluate everybody on a consistent basis, which he does on a daily basis. He's evaluating coaches. He's evaluating players. I mean, the ingredients are there from what I see. I mean, the environment in this stadium, in this community is just unbelievable compared to what I've ever seen at Penn State and Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame has that mystique of it being, Notre Dame, but down here in the SEC, it's just unbelievable. And us Northerners just I didn't realize it. I didn't know what people were talking about. SEC, you got to see football in the South. And I just think the chemistry is there, and it's really up to Shane Beamer, and I think he'll get it done. But it just seems, and I'm probably not winning any fans over it, but it's like everybody wants the instant success, and I think it's just going to take a little bit of time. They're going to end up with a winning season. I think earlier you were talking about 6-5 or 7-4 or whatever it was, but that's just my thoughts.
Yeah.
Originally I just wanted to kind of let you guys know, and they might say, tell that Northerner to go back home.
No, Joe, I appreciate the insight. I would say that SEC football fans are a lot like bad doctors, my friend. They don't have any patience. So there's a good dad joke for you. But no, it's just high pressure in the SEC, and I think that everybody wants the same thing. They've all got their own opinions on how long it should take or exactly what it should look like. But I do agree with you. Obviously, it's year 2. I believe in Shane Beamer. You're seeing it in recruiting. Guy's got an infectious personality, and I'm obviously behind Shane Beamer 110%. Really quick before I let you go, Joe, you wouldn't be Joe Pilla of the Pilla family that had the signed Beamer Ball T-shirt in the stands, would you?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah, that's my crew.
That's what I figured. That's what I figured.
lead.
Shout out to you.
Yep.
I know Emily's the one that DM'd me the video. Shout out to, I'm assuming that's your wife, the entire family. And I appreciate y'all, man. That's incredible. That's awesome to see the way y'all rock with the Beamer Ball.
I think my wife, Louise knows more about Gamecock football than anyone I know, because she just analyzes the daylights out of it. She reads a lot of the media posts and some of the articles, and she knows the players and coaches, and she really analyzes it pretty well.
We'll have to get her to call in.
She likes it down here.
We'll have to get her to call in.
Yeah, she's on that Monday through Friday work schedule. She's here with me. We're waiting for our flight. And, she's thinking about maybe retirement down here in this area. It might, kind of settling in down here. Have to see what happens.
That's incredible. Well, again, I really do appreciate y'all rocking with the brand and the business, and of course the Gamecocks, and appreciate the entire family showing love, man. It's incredible for sure. So we appreciate y'all's love and support, and definitely look forward to y'all coming back to many, many more games. And I think it's a great sentiment you share, my man, is that it does take time and nobody wants to have patience, but I do think we got the right guy in charge for it.
Yeah. You said it earlier. The chemistry is there. He's got all the tools. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and maybe not. What did Lou Holtz used to always say? It takes 3 years, I think, till you get to a bowl game. And look, he got to a bowl game first year. Top 10, win a bowl game, be successful, and it's all there. It's next 2 weeks are going to be critical, especially next week against South Carolina State
this weekend.
And get this weekend, get the passing game, get the offense gelling, and do what you got to do. You make it there, and if everybody plays together, the following week could be a huge success story.
Yeah,
and then some afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. Joe, great insight, man. Again, great perspective. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Again, shout out to the Pillow family, and really, really do appreciate you guys.
All right, you take care, Chris. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Take care. Great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah. So Emily Pillow, shout out to Emily that sent me the video of her mom repping the Beamer Ball shirt, got it signed by basically the entire team. So just really cool stuff, man. I talked about it on the podcast, and the way, and I've told you guys many times before, we actually hit a major milestone in regards to merchandise in the last couple of days, and the merchandise has been the biggest game changer in regards to the business as a whole. That has been the biggest game changer for the business. It's so cool to see the way people rock.
Robbie Davis is Zaxby's Hall of Famer.
I appreciate y'all.
To accept, press 1.
Robbie Davis, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up, buddy? Looking pretty swag in that sweatshirt, my guy.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's hoodie season, at least where I'm at. So trying to maybe advertise for the hoodies and the hoodie merch. Fire. This is the tie-dye champion Beamer Ball hoodie, which is fuego. I absolutely love it. Very, very high quality. And yeah, definitely, man. It's who doesn't love a great hoodie, great long sleeve, great pullover. We got the full collection on the store, tsus.store. And, again, Robbie, I appreciate you allowing me to do a little 20-second self-promoted ad read here on TDC today.
Hey, like I've said, and like you already know, you got my support, rather or not if I have merch. You've got my support 110%.
And I appreciate that, Robbie.
But I just wanted to say that I'm going to go ahead and call it that if this game gets played this weekend, because the weather looks.
Yeah, I have heard there's some weather issues potentially. Yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah, the hurricane is, from what I understand, it looks like at least for now, it looks like it's going to hit us hard on Friday and be gone by Saturday, be basically gone by Saturday. But and that's kind of put a damper on my original plans, because right before, a few minutes before I called in to you, my aunt, who I'm supposed to be going to the game with, told me she didn't want to have to sit in the rain. I was like, it's just rain and it's just water. It ain't going to kill you. You might get wet and cold, but it ain't going to kill you. But she was like, I'm not sitting in the rain. I was like, okay, well, we'll figure something out. But I mostly feel bad for my cousin, because he's been looking forward to this weekend for like all year. But anywho, I also wanted to say that I think we played good against Charlotte. We didn't play great, because if we would have played great, we would also have been able to move the ball while passing. Okay. And I don't know what the deal is, right? And I why can't we do both? Like one game, like last week, this past Saturday, we ran the ball very well, and then against Arkansas, we tried to pass the ball 100 and some odd times. Satterfield, make up your mind, dude, or mix it up or something. You got to do something.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, here's the thing when it comes to offensive identity, quote unquote, and philosophy. And, I understand it. I understand why they played Arkansas the way they did. Arkansas was depleted in the secondary. And, I mean, you look now, they got one of the worst pass defenses in college football. And so, yeah, I would say it's a very wise decision to attack them that way, right? I understand playing the matchup. I just – you look at the game against Charlotte and your game plan of running the ball 40 times and, that game and this game against SC State, these are games where you should be able to and you will be able to do whatever you want to do, right? And so being able to run the football is kind of a given, right? It's a given.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this coaching staff really did look at these two games and say, all right, against Charlotte, we're going to run the football. Against SC State, we're going to throw it. We're going to throw it all over the yard. We'll build our confidence in the passing game in the SC State game. Maybe that was the case, but that's what I need to see because, again, I just go back to this. Anybody can pick on somebody who's smaller than them. What happens when you got to pick on somebody your own size? What happens when you got to go play Kentucky? What happens when you got to go play A&M? I would venture to say you're not going to be able to run the football in that way. I think anybody who looks at Charlotte and says, well, that should be our identity. I just think that you are it's just not realistic. It's just and I'm not saying that because I'm a doubter, I'm a hater, like whatever. We have enough evidence that shows us that's not the case. To this point this season before Charlotte, and then you look at last year with the same linemen, right? The number one thing we learned from Saturday night is this. Marshawn Lloyd, when he gets blocking, is a dude. He's a dude. We felt like that was probably going to be the case. When he gets blocking, he's a dude. Right?
Right.
And I know you're going to have to run the football with some success to have any chance against teams like Kentucky, A&M, Tennessee, Florida, Clemson, Mizzou, even Vandy, down the stretch we go. But you're going to need above average quarterback play. Like, for example, to go beat Kentucky, you're going to have it on the road in the SEC. I just think you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not using these two games against Charlotte and SC State to work on that facet of your game. Anybody can go out. Vanderbilt, I'd venture to say, could go out and push Charlotte around. What do you prove in that? What do you prove when you go push the Charlotte 49ers around? Again, anybody can pick on somebody that's smaller than them. Can you pick on somebody the same size as you? Any ninth grader can beat up a fifth grader. What happens when a ninth grader's got to square up with a ninth grader? So that's why I leave the Charlotte game yearning for more. Yearning for more creativity. These are the times to try different things. These are the times to stretch the field and get your playmakers going. And, we talk about, hey, great for the O-line. They've got confidence now. What about Spencer Rattler? What about Jaheim Bell? What about Josh Vann, Antoine Wells? These guys that still are barely touching the football. I mean, where is Spencer Rattler's mind right now? So, hey, we could be having a totally different conversation this time next week if we go out and throw for, 400 against SC State. Maybe we will. But that, to me, has got to be the area of focus, because to think that, well, we just found ourselves against Charlotte. That's obviously our identity, is just to line up and run for 295 yards. It's just not realistic, man. It's not who this team is. Just because you can bully the worst defense in college football around doesn't mean you're going to go bully around Kentucky. We have more than enough evidence to show us that won't be the case.
Exactly. I mean, like you said earlier, a couple of weeks ago, like, we didn't really learn nothing against Georgia.
How much? Yeah, that's a great point. How much did you really learn against Charlotte? I mean, can you really sit there? And Hunter Johnson, I did not have money on the under. I took Gamecocks to cover the spread, and they did. Just want to put that out there. But
what was the spread? I can't remember.
Carolina was
the
a
spread?
22, 22 and a half, 23, wherever you got it, point favorite. We covered with ease. Heck, I picked the final score 48 to 21, and I was in the ballpark. If not for Luke Cody throwing a late touchdown, I was pretty much on it. But anyways, it's like, what did you I just don't know that you can really, you can't take anything away from Charlotte as full truth. Because Charlotte's just it's a kick in, bro. Charlotte's a kick in. Charlotte's a kick in.
Yeah. I think in this game, if this, like I said, if this game gets played this weekend, we need to attack South Carolina State from the get-go. Don't start slow. For the love of God, Satterfield, do not start slow. Step on their throat and beat their butt and give them their paycheck, okay? I don't know how much we're paying State to come get their ass kicked, but make sure they get their ass kicked.
You're really worried, Robbie, about these teams getting their paychecks. Make sure we get them their paycheck, if nothing else.
I mean, we are paying them, right? Give them their paycheck.
Yeah, we're paying SC State. We're paying SC State. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean it's a game. I mean, hell, even more than Charlotte, right? Like we said last week, you should be able to go into Charlotte, do whatever you want. SC State is that on steroids. I mean, SC State lost to North Carolina A&T this past weekend, like 41-34 or something like that. North Carolina A&T scored 41 on their defense. So this I'll go ahead and say this. This game against SC State, and it's not some bold proclamation, but I mean it's a name your score game for Carolina. They can, if they want to win this game 70-0, they can win it 70-0. If they want to win it 56-6, they can win it 56-6. Name your score. But so that's why it's even more important. That's why I'm saying going in the SC State game, okay, you ran the ball effectively against Charlotte. You bullied around the 49ers. Great.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need your passing game. You're going to need the vertical passing game. You're going to need, if nothing else, Spencer Rattler to be playing his best football, or as close to it as possible, his best football when you go into Lexington. If you can pick and choose what you do, if you can pick and choose, it will be a disservice to just say, well, you know, the game plan was to run it 40 times because we just knew we could. Well, what did you accomplish in doing that? Like I said earlier, anybody can pick on the smaller man. I mean, anybody can. What happens when you then what happens when you got to go pick on somebody your own size? So you better have a second. You better have a second jab. You better have another move. Right?
Yeah.
I feel that's my biggest thing with Charlotte. I feel, and we're nitpicking, of course, but that's what you do after a game like this. I feel no better about the Gamecocks passing game after Saturday than I did going in. I feel no better about it. None. Nothing about Saturday that happened makes me feel any better about the passing game.
Let me ask you this. What would have to happen in order for you to feel good about the passing game?
Let's stretch the field and Spencer Rattler throw for 300 or 400.
Yeah, I
get
agree.
get Jaheim Bell involved in the passing game. Get Josh Vann and Antoine Wells involved. Get Xavier Legette. Get your outside guys involved in the passing game. Show a little bit more creativity than just your stupid little swing passes you keep doing. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Get Corey Rucker going. I mean, just throw the ball. Show that you can. Because here's the problem.
Right.
Here's the problem. If you can't do it against these opponents, I mean, these are the worst teams you're going to play the rest of the way out, man.
Yep. Everybody else has a pulse.
Indeed.
After state, everybody else we play's got a pulse. And if you ask me, Clemson got lucky this past Saturday.
Yeah, it was unfortunate they won, but they just always seem to find a way. I don't know. Unfortunately, they always seem to find a way.
Yeah. And I still think we'll wind up winning Saturdays like 54-7, I believe was the prediction I gave you, or 53-7, one of the two.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I still believe that even though it didn't happen this past Saturday, I think this could be the week that we get a special teams touchdown.
Yeah, we almost had one against Charlotte, but the penalty called it back.
Yeah, I was like, well, dadgummit, I called it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, there's a flag, doggone it. But I think we'll tighten the ship on special teams, and I think we'll have a special teams touchdown in some form or fashion. We will have a special teams touchdown. Shoot, I'd love to see a pick six or two.
I would as well. Hey, score in bunches, my guy.
And did I hear you correctly? The Kentucky game was set for 7:30.
7:30, yes, 7:30.
Okay, so I might miss like the first couple of minutes of it then. So that's good. So, of course, because I'll be in Myrtle Beach next weekend. So.
Feels good to be good, Robbie.
But
feels good to be good.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's it from me. You have a safe trip to your sister's wedding, and go Gamecocks, and to heck with Clemson, and go UNC State Wolfpack, baby.
Yeah, be great to see them get the dub, wouldn't it?
Yeah. All right, bud. Have a good one.
Robbie, appreciate you, my guy. Take care.
Yep.
Did y'all hear Robbie giggle at the end of the call? Normally, I'm hanging up, right, but my phone's over there on the table. Robbie with the giggle at the end of the call. I love that. We got an update, by the way, from the Roach King guys. No Roach King today. He said he got tied up prepping for the hurricane, said it's a madhouse scramble down in Tampa. So all good. I mean, hey, stuff happens, right? So
to accept.
Anyways, that's the update. What's going on, my man? How are you?
Hey, Chris, you look like you got your therapist hat on today in your chair and chilling. You look, I need a therapist today, and here's why.
I do feel very relaxed. I will say that.
Yeah, you look like it, bro. I took, the first 20 minutes of the ball game, maybe 22 minutes. I was fuming because we were letting a 1-3 Charlotte football team push us around. And yeah, we were winning the ball game, but at one point we weren't, and we went up 2014. And I posted something on social media, and I've been getting hammered since I have posted that. This is what I don't understand. I'll get to the football game in a minute. But what I don't really understand is the fans. I understand being positive. There's got to be positive energy. I appreciate all that stuff. But what I always tell everybody, I'm not really a negative person. I'm more of a realistic person. So if you're not looking at if you didn't see what I saw the first 20 minutes, you're blind, because we were getting pushed around by a 1-3 Charlotte football team. To my knowledge, you can't start a car without a negative post besides the positive post. So there has to be a negative charge somewhere. But I'm more realistic. I don't understand how people can just fans can just disconnect from reality and not see what's exactly going on. I don't get that. It aggravates me to no end. That's why I listen to you, because you're a realist. I mean, yes, you're positive, but you give us the real thing. And I appreciate that, because as a fan that has been 44 years running, been a Gamecock Club member, I quit going to ball games because I got really tired of spending, a day and a half and all the money you put into a program to go watch a mediocre product, and then fans expect you just to be okay with it, because that's what the Gamecocks are. I'm sorry, I don't see that anymore. I mean, we're in the SEC. If you're playing Charlotte, you should have been up 28-0 by the end of the second quarter, period. And I get aggravated. Now, with that being said, in the second half, they made adjustments. They started pushing Charlotte around, which they should have. But I get aggravated watching all these good teams, and I'm not bashing Beamer either. I love him. He's a great coach. I think he's the perfect fit for South Carolina. I don't think some of his assistants are, but he will work that out in time. But this football game we know nothing. All we know is Marshawn Lloyd can run the ball if he's got blocking. We know that. We don't know if Spencer Rattler has a downfield passing game yet. We haven't seen it. Haven't seen it at all. We've seen a couple of balls from other people, Stogner and Bell's Way and number 13. I can't remember his name, but I mean he's shown he can do it, but with a little bit of time, we know he can do it. When Luke Doty comes in at the end of the fourth quarter and just throws a dime, why couldn't Spencer Rattler do that? Why not call the plays for that as well? I don't get it.
Yeah, no, I don't understand that either. And I will say this: I appreciate you rocking with me, because I agree with you. And that's I guess that's my challenge, and what I try to do is, again, stay in the middle and give credit where credit's deserved, but also, keep it a buck and keep it 100, and call things for what they are, not what we want them to be. So listen, I love your energy. I love the call. I think that you just dropped the mic on us right there. And that first half was brutal. I mean, that first half was brutal. There ain't no other way to put it. It was, some folks are ready to jump off the ledge, if you will, when it was 14-10 Charlotte. And again, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. So, I agree with you. I mean, it's one of those things where I look at the Charlotte game. You give credit where credit's due, right? You especially shower a guy like Marshawn Lloyd with praise, and you tip your cap for the team making the proper adjustments. But the fact you were in a position where you needed to make some massive second half adjustments to do what you should have been doing in the first place is a little concerning, for sure. And then, you go back to the Rattler thing, and that's very concerning. I said it on the, and I've been pretty just pro Rattler, haven't really said a negative word about him, not because I've been trying to be Garnet Glasses, just because I'm kind of just waiting and seeing how things unfold. But, my friend, I'd be lying to you if I was sitting here saying that I was anything other than underwhelmed by the way he's played through 4 games. I mean, 2 touchdowns, 5 picks. I mean, I don't know what Gamecock fan out there could say there, well, he's exactly met my expectations. Like, he's getting labeled a game manager in game 4. That's not what I was expecting. I'm sorry. So
when I heard that, Chris, I was like, oh no. Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, he wasn't, the announcer wasn't wrong. And by the way, ESPN used broadcast and all that. It was horrible. I'd have rather just had it streaming.
Yeah.
But when he said that, I'm like, you know what? He ain't wrong. I mean, he's not wrong. And that's on Satterfield. They took the ball game away from Rattler and said, okay, then we're going to run it 40 times. And we'll do some swing passes here. But you're going against the worst defense in college football, and you couldn't throw one downfield pass, really? With a guy that's as highly touted as Rattler is? I'm sorry. I don't see it. You can beat Charlotte. You can beat South Carolina State. There was no doubt in my mind. There was not one single doubt in my mind we were going to lose that ball game Saturday night.
Yeah.
Not one. I knew we would come back. I didn't realize we'd get 50-something, but okay, great. That's just a perk. It should have never been as close as it was in the first half. And yes, I may be nitpicking as well, but you get to Kentucky and Lexington, that place is going to be fired up. It's going to be at night. If you go out there and play scared and play just lethargic like you did in the first half against Charlotte, you're going to get your wheels blown off.
And to your point, my friend, in games like against Charlotte and SC State, you have to nitpick because you can't draw conclusions
Yes,
from.
you do.
Yeah, you can't draw conclusions from, beating Charlotte or SC State. You just can't. So you have to nitpick, and I guess that's my biggest thing offensively.
Chris.
And like I said, we could have a totally different conversation this time next week if we make the passing game the point of emphasis against SC State. But man, if you go out there against SC State again and you just run the ball 40 times and Beamer says, well, we just knew we could win in the running game. Well, no, you knew that, but you need to work on the things you're not good at right now, right? You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't. It's not about beating Charlotte or SC State. It's about setting yourself up to go beat Kentucky in the rest of the game. That's what it's like. I equate it to this, and we all hate them, but I'm going to use the analogy. A couple years ago when Clemson benched Kelly Bryant to put Trevor Lawrence in, they didn't do it because they weren't beating Syracuse or they were undefeated, I think, at the time they did that. They made that move strategically because they knew that was a move they needed to make to beat Alabama. It wasn't about beating Syracuse or Duke,
the standard was set, bro. They had to do it.
That's how I look at these games against Charlotte and SC State. Are you making moves necessary not to beat those teams, but to win down the stretch in SEC play and maybe beat a Clemson? Like you see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I agree. I agree.
I'm being accused of being a Tiger fan, and there is nothing I can't stand worse than Clemson University. I have nothing against any of the people that play there. Nothing. It's just I cannot stand the school. And when I get accused of being a Clemson fan because I'm not positive, these people have a football IQ of 3. They need to stop watching. This is not high school. This is a mid-major type, mid-NFL type football game. And now that these guys are getting paid to do what they do, heck yeah, I expect a whole lot more. Yes, sir, I do.
Yeah.
So that's just me. I don't mean to be. I love the Gamecocks, man. I'm a fan through and through, but realistic.
You, my friend, you don't have to apologize to me because you sound a lot like myself. And trust me, my friend, what you're getting, I would venture to say, I haven't seen your comment, but I would venture to say the comments you're getting on your comment, that's pretty much what I go through on a daily basis. So I mean, you just got to be willing if you're whenever you see the truth, my friend, you have to be willing to take the bullshit that comes with it from people that they just don't want to see it themselves. So it is what it is.
Crazy. You man, Chris. Appreciate it, bro.
Hey, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. Great stuff. Yeah, that was a hell of a call. That was a hell of a call right there. And yeah, again, guys, like I told you, it's a balancing act, right? Because you don't want to be the fan that's just your only takeaways are negative and you're only nitpicking, right? But you also don't want to be the nauseating, oh, we're back on 10-2 because we beat Charlotte 56-20. Like the truth's in the middle, right? The truth is in the middle. We did some good things on Saturday. We won the game.
Call from
Luke RJ.
There's still some things left to be desired.
To accept, press.
Luke RJ, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. This has been a great day, dude. Even though Roach King dealing with his stuff down in Tampa, dude. I mean, heck, we haven't even taken a break in the second hour, man. Comments have been rolling. I think it's because this chair, man, honestly. I think that's what I'm so comfortable right now. I'm like, we don't even need to take a break.
Yeah, man, up there in the mountains, just kind of relaxing. I like it.
Dude, I feel so like zenned out, like just so at peace right now. I think also too because we won. I couldn't imagine sitting here today and we somehow didn't win. Didn't win that game. Anyways, I appreciate you calling in, man. What's up?
So for me, I just wanted to talk about, the offense and the passing game and stuff. I think we all wanted to see Rattler throw the ball around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the big talking point for today. And going to be, going forward this week. But I think the biggest thing is when we look at what Satterfield wants to do on offense and running the ball and everything you said on the podcast, the biggest problem is going to be like, okay, so what happens if we get down by 10 or 14 or 17 points? So if he wants to, have that running game, You know, you can't really score really quick running the ball unless you break like an 80-yard play. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So if you get behind, like against Kentucky, and, you know, they stop us and force us to punt or a turnover or something, and we got to go score quick. Well, that's not going to work keeping it on the ground and these little swing passes. I think that's the biggest takeaway I see about what he wants to do on offense.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we scored 56 points. First team offense went 7 for 7 on their scoring drives. But I don't think it's a bold take to say the play calling was painfully conservative. That offensive game plan was painfully conservative. Was it not? I mean, I just run, swing. And it goes back to, again, J.C. Sherbert, who we have on the show every Thursday, obviously. It goes back, Luke, to what he said last week. In games where South Carolina can run the football at will, Marcus Satterfield's offense has looked great. It's looked great. But every other time, which is most of the time, when we can't run the ball at will and we struggle to run the ball, well, that's just it. We're a one-trick pony almost. And we shouldn't be a one-trick pony with Spencer Rattler under center. We just shouldn't.
Well, yeah, that also explains why on third down and long or third down and 6 and 7, you can't convert on third down because you're not throwing the ball downfield. That's why the third down conversion has been
Bro,
so
we
bad,
don't even have like an intermediate passing game. I'm not even talking about just throwing bombs. We don't have anything intermediate, nothing. Everything's a swing pass, it feels like. And maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but God, it feels that way. I feel like every time I'm looking up, we're throwing a swing pass. It's an extended handoff. That's all it is. I mean, I understand trying to get the ball to your playmakers on the outside, but you can't say you try to do that on Saturday. Again, dude, Jaheim Bell, I mean, it's criminal the way he's not being used. It's criminal. It's criminal what's going on with Jaheim Bell right now. I'm not saying the guy that, you know, he'd win the Heisman somewhere else, but he's an all-conference type of talent, dude. And the fact that he's just been completely non-existent. And again, maybe SC State, they use that as the ball games to really get these playmakers going. But I mean, I'm going to be pretty irritated if we go into SC State and just do the same thing over again. Well, we'll just run it 40 times because we can. And, you know, well, no shit you can. No shit you can.
Well,
like you haven't even proven you can throw the ball.
Yeah. You know, if you watch the game on TV, you know, you can see when they zoom in on the players and stuff. You know, I hate to bring this up, but Jaheim Bell looks frustrated. You know, he after the two, if you go back and look at the 2 times that he got the ball, and they weren't really big plays at all, and that was the 2 times that he touched the ball, he just kind of put his head down and kind of just like, he just looks a little frustrated that he's not getting stats and stuff. And, you know, Wells and Van,
Luke, to your point, not to cut you off, but to your point about Jaheim Bell, because I want to take it a step further. I mean, Jaheim Bell's mom and family follow us on Twitter. And when I posted the stat after it was Georgia or whatever game it was, when I was like, you know, these are his statistics, he's not being used well enough. Bro, his entire family's like retweeting it and quote tweeting like, yeah, like agreeing. So you think he don't think the same thing? Like, yeah, the entire Bell family agrees with what you're saying.
Well, yeah, you can see it. You can see his body language on the field, like from the TV broadcast. But, you know, even Van, you know, he's not – you got to get these players stats, man. Like, okay, so Van almost had like a big punt return. That was called back. But, you know, Van came back to try to go to improve his draft stock and go to the NFL. Mm-hmm. So if he has less yards or whatever, that's not going to improve his draft stock. Wells is, you know, he had that big game against Arkansas, but you got to I know what he wants to do is just to win the game and not have like some embarrassing like where Charlotte was like closer than that. And we scored every time we had the ball. But like you've got to have get these players targets. You've got to get them statistics or themselves to look like they're playing well, and they all have the ability. So at some point, they couldn't stop us because we were running the ball, but you've got to let these players shine, and that's what it comes down to, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got to be aware.
Yeah,
he's got to be aware of that.
Well, and because again, like I mentioned, Luke RJ, I mean, it's that running the ball is great. It's great, man. But SEC play down the stretch, you're going to need these playmakers, man. I mean, Jeff Gullidge points out in the chat, Bell at this point right now through 4 games has 7 catches and 11 rushing attempts. That's just pitiful. That's pitiful. And I just here's what I don't understand too. Here's what I don't understand. And my guy Travis Ward pointed it out. My guy P-Dawg, we know. Obviously Luke in the Discord. P-Dawg loves to point it out. Marcus Satterfield told us over the summer, well, we didn't bring Spencer Rattler in here for him to hand the ball off. Well, through 4 games, I'd venture to disagree. Because that's exactly what he's doing. He's being labeled a game manager by the ESPNU crew. So, yeah, he is handing the ball off. Yeah, when you say, I want my identity to be 12, 13 personnel, run for 270, pass for 220, that is him handing the ball off. So what are you talking about? Were you just flooding us with bullshit to make us feel all warm and fuzzy inside because we got Spencer Rattler because you wanted to hype the fans up? I mean,
yeah.
Well,
yeah, I hear you. I mean, he's doing what he said he was going to do. But watching that game, the only reason I really wasn't, pissed off or upset or just like, like mad about the game or whatever, was because we were scoring every time we had it, and our defense couldn't stop them. But I was kind of chill that game. We were scoring. Yeah. It was fun watching. It was fun watching Lloyd run up and down the field and hurdle people and everything. So it was. I enjoyed that game. That was probably my favorite game. Of course we were winning and stuff, but yeah, you just gotta get these players some stats, man.
Yeah.
And
I mean, again, to your point, Luke RJ, it's nobody I think sitting here. At least I'm not. I'm happy we won the ball game. It was a very, very fun second half. And, I felt like we'd probably pull away, and while the first half was frustrating, and I was happy to see that our offense did what they should do. The first, the ones especially against the worst team in college football or the worst defense in college football. But as we talked earlier, and I know you probably agree, Luke RJ, it's I think where people are left yearning for more is because it's not about beating Charlotte. It's not about beating SC State. It's about building on things, using these games to build on things to take into Lexington against Kentucky. Because here's the thing, if you do, in my opinion, what you did against Charlotte, against SC State, if that's your plan and you just do that again and Rattler has another fine day, pedestrian day, no touchdowns, you go into Kentucky. I don't really go into Kentucky with any more confidence than I had after Georgia.
Yeah.
Because that's what we on Saturday. That's not this offensive line. That's not who they are on a week in, week out in conference play. That's not them. That's not them. It's not.
Yeah. I want to get this before the end of the show.
Yeah,
too.
go ahead.
The big thing is, like if we get down 2 possessions or 3 possessions or something, we're not going to have enough time to continue to run the ball like that. That's the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
If we get behind by any other team. And, when was the last time where, South Carolina had the ball with like a little bit under 3 minutes before the half was over, and we just scored really quick, or at the end of the game where, say there's like 7 minutes left and we're down by 10, we can't have like some long 7-minute drive on the ground 4 or 5 times and, or just a long drive. We need to be able to score quick, and that's really what it comes down to. And the defense, I think the defense can play better if they just play a little bit smarter and cover who they're supposed to. The tackling has been a little bit bad, but they can play better if people aren't being left wide open and they're not covering who they're supposed to. Like if someone blitzes and they don't pick them up or whatever. So I think the defense can play a little bit better. So I think this next game is going to be fun to watch. So we're going to get another big win. It's going to be kind of just watching the Gamecocks play.
Yep, enjoy it because we get right back into the gauntlet after that, and who knows from there. But Luke, always a pleasure to hear from you, my guy. Sorry I wasn't able to join the hangout last night, but no, I appreciate you calling in, my guy.
Absolutely, Chris. Always a pleasure to talk to you, man.
Yeah, man. We'll chat soon. Appreciate it. Great stuff from Luke RJ. And guys, that's going to do it for us. Appreciate you all tuning in. Again, apologies for no Steven Garcia today. He is down in Tampa prepping for the hurricane. So obviously send your prayers to the Roach King. Maybe we'll try to get him in sometime later this week. Maybe he can stop in for like a 10, 15-minute spot, give his thoughts. But that is the reason why. So again, appreciate you guys understanding. Thank y'all for rolling the punches. But I thought this was a fantastic TDC, man. Calls from start to finish. And of course, you guys' comments as well. Really, really good stuff. This will be our setup for the first half of this week. So, I don't know, man. I'm kind of getting used to this chair. We might have to buy one of these for the studio because I felt very, very chill today. Very chill. I liked it. But anyways, guys, podcast dropped this morning. Be sure to check that out. TDC all week long. Podcast will be back on Wednesday. And, of course, as always, guys, content bleeding out the eyeballs. Folks, appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your Monday. We will talk to you tomorrow.